You're sitting in your car, you've turned the engine off, you're right in front of the office, but you're just frozen. You're just sitting there, not because you're not capable of getting up and going in. You're not moving because somewhere in the last 3 weeks, you've decided this conversation's worse than not having it. Most of the time, we're just afraid. And we've dressed our fear up as kindness or grace, or we've deployed the strategy of hope. We hope the situation rectifies itself. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Maybe it's a conversation about somebody's performance, especially on a recent project. Maybe it's about where their career's headed or not headed. Maybe it's about the promotion that they're expecting, but they're not going to get. They're off target. Maybe it's about those behaviors that are hurting the team, hurting the company culture. None of those conversations are easy, but here's what I know after coaching leaders and working with teams for over 40 years. It's never the conversation that costs you. It's always the time, the 3 weeks that turns into 3 months that costs you the most. It actually makes the conversation that much more difficult. Let's think about the story we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves that we're being patient. We're giving them time. We're looking for the perfect opportunity. You know, that right moment, or the problem might go away. Woohoo! 3 weeks turns into 3 months very quickly. And in that time, one problem turns into 2, details get foggy, things get more complex, and the conversation gets harder. All because of our dread, our fear. Now here's the difficult part of this. While you're waiting for the right moment, they're not waiting for anything. They are already telling themselves another story, similar to the story that you're telling yourself about why you need to wait. Now the story they're telling might be around, they're going to fire me, I'm doing a terrible job, they're disappointed in me, nobody sees what I'm really doing, I've been passed up unfairly. Or on the other side of the coin, they might be saying, I need to be more aggressive. Well, it looks like really being aggressive is a way to win with this team. Maybe my loud voice is working. But the point I want us to understand is that our silence, your silence, is not neutral. It leads to a bigger cost in the end. Now, if you're already in the room and you know you're going to have a difficult conversation, I've already shot the video that'll help you plan that meeting out. I'd encourage you to go watch the difficult meeting that you are avoiding. 5 keys, all tactical, that'll make you a winner in those difficult conversations. And I've linked that video in the description. This video is the part about before you get into the room, getting out of that dread stage. It's about why we stall, what it costs us, and some practical steps to get out of it. Let's cover 5 principles that'll make you better at having these difficult, hard conversations that leaders have to have. People don't follow leaders that are always kind. They follow leaders who are transparent, who have the hard conversations, who care about their development. And these 5 principles, number 4 is my favorite. But let's start with number 1. Name the conversation that you're avoiding. That's right, name it. In fact, we can do it right now on this video. You see, when you become specific, it makes your avoidance very uncomfortable because you know exactly what you're avoiding. Stop calling it the thing I need to deal with. That was one of my favorites. I need to deal with it. You know, whether it's a growth conversation, a conversation about promotions, overall performance, compensation, whatever, especially if it's a conversation around inappropriate behaviors, the point is you can't schedule, you won't get past the dread if you don't name it. When you name it, things get better. So here's your practical tip, and we can do it right now. Finish this sentence out loud. The conversation I'm avoiding is about blank, and it is with blank. Who is that conversation with? Now, what I learned from myself is I actually put that in my journal. And when I named what it was about and who it was with, I was much more empowered to move forward. Principle number 2, the cost gets bigger in silence. Trust isn't broken when you have the hard conversation. Trust actually gets broken in that gap whether it's 3 weeks or 3 months, where there was silence. That's what breaks trust, because there's no transparency. Every day that we withhold this conversation, we're withholding something from them that they need, and it's clarity. But we're calling it grace. We're saying we're giving them grace, but they need clarity. They need transparency. And I have watched leaders who delayed so long due to that fear or that dread that the people had already checked out, or they had gotten emboldened and the behaviors have gotten worse. Where you think you're being patient, they are either experiencing being ignored or empowered. Some of my worst mistakes is when I allowed them to think they were empowered. So here's your practical tip on principle 2. Ask yourself this question: what is another week's delay costing them? That's right, them, not you. What is it costing them? Because they're in your care. They're under your leadership. So what that question does is it kind of pulls back the curtains a little bit, and it really reveals that the silence, the delay, is all about you and not them. Leadership is not about being comfortable. It is about caring enough about others that you'll do the hard thing. Principle number 3, avoidance is not love. You want to connect, you want to demonstrate you care before you correct. But connecting before you correct is not the same as connecting and not correcting. And again, I know I've told myself this many times, I've given them grace, but avoidance is not grace. Grace has a conversation. Avoidance has silence. Whenever we withhold the truth from a team member out of the thought of kindness, we're doing just the opposite. We're not being kind at all. That's really self-protection, wearing kindness as a costume, as an excuse. Principle number 4, my favorite, put a date on it. Write it down, what it's about, who it's with, and what date you're going to do it. And in fact, I encourage you to tell somebody else, get a third party involved, or even better yet, book that meeting with them. Get it on the calendar. There's nothing better. You see, avoidance thrives on the word soon. I'll do that soon. When I tell Cece, my wife, that on a task that she wants me to do, she gets aggravated, because she knows soon might be much later. Write this down in your notebook, because avoidance cannot survive a date. Put a date on it. Right there on the forehead, stick a date on it. And I'm going to encourage you from a practical application, right now, just pause the video and get in your calendar and let's put that date down. We already know what conversation we're avoiding. I promise you this, you'll gain some momentum, and those thoughts will start clarifying in your mind once you have that date down. And principle number 5, prepare your opening line. Now, I'm not talking about your whole strategy for the meeting. I'm talking about your opening line, because that tends to be a big stumbling block. It tends to be part of the dread. Most of our avoidance is not about the whole conversation. It's about getting it started. It's about getting it on the calendar. So prepare an opening. Think about this. For my most sensitive conversation, a lot of times I would begin them something like this. I want to talk to you about something today that I may not get just right. And I'm scared when I fail in my delivery that you might get defensive. So I want you to know that I have that fear, and that I'm going to do my best to present this in a way that lets you know I care about you and your success. And that's why I want to have this conversation. That's it. That's enough. That will get you in the room. The rest of it, your talking point, your things you're not going to compromise on, your action items that you want to come out of the discussion. All of that can be prepared before you get in the room. Today, your only job is the first sentence. What we're dealing with is getting past the dread. I promise you, the leader that people remember, it's the ones that cared enough, that had enough courage to have the hard conversations, that grew them. Maybe tentative, and a lot of times tentative is the way to deliver that, but straightforward, just like you would want to receive it. Demonstrating vulnerability in how you deliver it. Not tearing them down as a person, but talking about either performance or behavior that need to be worked on. The conversation you're avoiding right now is not going away. It's just getting harder, more complex, and a lot more expensive. Name it, put a date on it, think about your first opening sentence. That's how you turn 3 weeks of dread into a conversation that changes everything, that lifts everybody up. Leadership that lasts is built on people, trust, and personal growth. So always remember our rally cry, be better.